What is NextBlock about?
NextBlock, we started off this project. It's actually a long time thing that we're thinking of lah. So think of it as we started looking into, I'm pretty sure all of us had heard stories of, in the old kampung days, my mom always like to tell me this, we can borrow things from each other, we can borrow rice. Hokkien always say, 救羊啦, 救羊救币. Very easy. You know everybody around the kampung. You know that when you need help, you can ask for help. You know that when my mother wants to go out to work, she can actually deposit my neighbor's house. So easily, everybody knows each other. You want to borrow things, it's a very harmonious kind of estate.
What do you call that? Gotong royong.
Gotong royong, yeah. Or English terms, or rather a term that we commonly hear a lot more. Kampung spirit.
Kampung spirit.
Yeah, we have been hearing this thing a lot.
Yeah.
So that got us thinking also, which is, now that with technology, it's supposed to make things easier. But how come things like this are actually disappearing a lot? Truth be told, ask yourself to yourself, JJ, and also to people who are probably listening in this thing. Can you name names of 10 people in your estate? Names of people. Or say today right now, I flip on the ground. I need to ask for help. Who can I call? Do I have a number of my neighbor that can call for help or not? Somebody come and, hey, help me open my door. Or you say, for example, I left home with my stove open. Then suddenly, half an hour down, I realized, I forgot to turn on my stove. How? Do I have a number to call or a neighbor that I can text that say, can you come to my house and help me close my stove now?
There's the issue of trust also, because it also means that you have to pass them a set of keys.
That's actually happened to one of my partner, that business partner, Brian, also. 2 weeks ago, he and his wife left home with the stove open. After half an hour, they realized, shit, my stove is open. My stove is still on.
Yeah.
But the good thing is they have very good relationship with their neighbor, their number. Call a neighbor and say, hey, because that's the lock.
Digital lock. Can give a one-time code or something.
One-time code, give them.
Code. Yeah.
Go
okay.
turn off the stove for them.
Yeah.
So you see, things like this, it's supposed to make a lot easier with, also safer with technology in place. But how come it's going the other way? People are closing doors. Sometimes even like in the lift, you see neighbor, do you even say hi? Things like this. Not many people do that. So how can we build up this neighborliness, we call it, together again? By right, technology is supposed to make things easier. How come it's making things tougher? So that is like what kickstarted all this whole thing. So I also remember, but the thing is, like you see, one thing that I always focus on is, for everything there should be a business aspect of it. There are still bills to be paid, salaries to be paid, marketing expenses to be paid. I think the toughest, or rather the biggest question I had to myself is like, yes, I want to do all these things. Of course, with money, you can do all these things. You can give people vouchers to get on board, all these things. You can make people talk, you can hire committee managers and things like this. But what balances the other side of the equation? Ultimately, do I want to run it as a social enterprise? Meaning that I'll be so much focused on getting grants, getting government money, that I can't scale. I can't scale big enough, fast enough. That's one way of thought. The other way is like, can there be a business element to it that actually can balance out the whole equation? People are happy, but at the same time, this is a viable business. So that's when I started looking at a very successful US-based company called NextBlock. They just got listed 2 months ago on New York at around a $4.7 billion valuation. So when I started looking at a model, I became a lot more convinced that I can do good, I can connect neighborhoods, and at the same time, this is a viable business model. So that got me excited about this. So we started to kickstart this entire whole community business. Of course, that came along with like the people in our team. I would say that it's usually the passion that goes a long way. You need to have good passion in the gift. Something that you really want to do, it goes a long way. I myself, I'm actually a grassroots leader, a grassroots volunteer, call it. Volunteer in my area, pretty much active in some scenes in Kembangan, that side also. One of my founding partners also, she's pretty active in Radimas, that side, stays in Yishun actually.
Oh.
Yeah. And these are things whereby we need this passion people to drive.
Why is she active in Radin Mas when she stays in Yishun?
I never asked her this question before. But she stays here. She stays in Yishun, the other side, further down the road. But she's active in Radin Mas, that side. But this kind of thing sometimes, I also don't know of people who stay somewhere but they're active somewhere else also, because it feels right.
I was a grassroots leader for 10 years. I just quit.
Yeah, I will. You can say that I stay at Hougang under Aljunied that side, but I actually am more connected, feel more with the guys from Kembangan that side. When I meet them a lot more lah. So cannot let my Aljunied people hear that.
I don't like to. For 10 years, I've served in a few different constituencies. I've never served in my own constituency before. And my MP, the MP here is Prof. Faishal lah. And then
What's the reason behind that? Just curious.
So, and also my neighbour upstairs is a RC chairman. So he knows, then he always say, hey, when you coming back to join us? So the reason I joined the grassroots, right, was that when I first joined insurance, one of my clients became an MP. Then I joined him for, the time I was still very young, 22 years old. Yep. I was looking for opportunities, right, to get to know more people and all. So when he said, hey, do you want to help me in the GE and all? GE 2011. I said, yeah, I said, okay. Then I went in. I can speak quite fluent Hokkien. So during my client, the MP that I served initially is Indian, Vikram, over at Sembawang GRC side. Then I would be on market visits with him, and I would help him do some like translation, those 阿嬷, hey 阿嬷, 这爸爸这个是我人的这个人民行动党嘿候选人. Then the CCC chairman came to me and said, 少年呢，哇，你袂歹啊，福建话讲了袂歹。Then he said, 你做什么嘅？下擺有閒就來 So that was how I got recruited in lah.
I see.
And I don't like to join. I don't like to, in a way, after I found out how it works, I don't like to serve the place that I stay in, because I feel that as a grassroots leader, there is a certain social standing or standard that you should upkeep lah.
Yep.
And it's also for the sake of your advisor also lah. Because you are a leader. You are a grassroots leader.
Yep.
That means I think personally I feel that there are certain standards that you should keep up to.
Yep.
And I'm actually a very introverted kind of person. Although I have this podcast and all, but so I like to wear my shorts and my slippers, go down, pick up, and all. I don't want to be like
actually like that also
too high profile.
Truth be told, if you tell me that my RC chairman is this kind of person, I'm like, this guy is natural, man. I'm like, I'll be even more convinced of this person. I mean, that's it, to be honest. Rather than you try to act up to a certain standard.
Then the other thing, very practical reason, was also because I used to go drinking a lot more when I was in my early 20s.
Same here.
I come back drunk, wow. Then the taxi reached my house downstairs already, and then I'll be like, for many times, puke at the void deck, puke in the corridor.
Imagine a neighbor takes a picture of this and says, this is our RC chairman.
Yeah, or don't even talk about RC chairman lah, or even like, hey, isn't that guy who helped me, write the letter or something, I saw him beside the MP, and I just feel that, actually, to go to somewhere where people do not know me is not my kampung. I do my job. I draw the line. I enjoy it.
Hey, look at it this way. There's a very good term for this. Don't eat where you shit.
Yeah, don't eat where you shit.
Yep.
Don't puke where you stay. Really, I was.
True that. Don't puke where you stay.
Yeah. 因为 the town council 哇，老伟又是楼上那个10楼的那个no. Yeah. So, talking about NextBlock, to me, the closest thing I can think of about to NextBlock is, nowadays a lot of BTOs, right? A lot of people, right, they will set up like Facebook groups that basically reflects the BTO project's name. And for some more successful ones, more active ones, you would see some kind of this kind of like interaction going on, whereby there's one that I joined, you can see a lot of parents. So a lot of these BTOs, young parents, right? So one thing that I always like to see is when people offer to bless things that they do not need anymore to their neighbours. For the sake of convenience, it's easier for neighbours to pick up. And I appreciate it because it's it's equally easy to go on Carousel and list it and sell it as well. But you have chosen to bless it away to your neighbours. how does NextBlock aim to, elevate that kind of interaction to the next level?
Actually, one feature that we have in our roadmap, down here is to build what we call a marketplace on the app itself. Think of it as a hyperlocal. It's kind of thing we call hyperlocal, district level, kind of carousel, buying sell marketplace for second-hand items. Because that's actually one thing that when we started looking into what kind of content is attractive in estates. So I'm in a couple of estate Facebook groups, Telegram group, WhatsApp groups, and one of the key things that's always talking about is giving things away, selling things, giving things away, especially newer estates like Punggol, Hougang, that side. You have a lot more
The younger people.
Yeah.
Younger
When
families.
same thing, like for example, my son right now 2 years old. But the things that he did when he was still below 12 months old, do I keep them? Why not I give them away lor? I want to sell, truth be told, sometimes if you want to sell, I also paiseh to sell. I'm going to sell at $1, $2, won already ma. Then also don't make much sense for me. So then why not give it to somebody else who needs it? So this kind of pass it on mentality has been very, very active in a lot of estate groups also. I mean, if you look at the content that people put in this kind of estate group chats, this is one of the top contents available. It actually got us thinking we should actually be building a feature like this to help facilitate.
I got one idea. My son Gu Po, my yeye's sister lah. Every day she cooks at home, right? So I don't know how she found. I think maybe because she's a babysitter as well. Babysitter is one thing that within the estate.
Yep.
Of course, when you're looking for a babysitter or nanny, preferably it's in the estate, right?
Yep.
You don't need to send too far away.
Yep.
So my son Gu Po, right, every day when she cooks her soup, right, she will pack one gong one. Someone would order the soup. They come back home from work. Then we'll go to her house, pick up the soup, then go home. It's a dual income couple lah, both working and all, just two of them. And they have home cooked soup. From my fantastic chef, San Gu Po.
I have a neighbor, also same thing. A neighbor at my estate, next block only.
Yeah.
So she's Indonesian, very, very good cook. So she will have like ayam penyet lah, rendang lah, things like this. And what she does is like in our estate group, she'll just say, hey, this Thursday I'm cooking ayam penyet. One set, got rice, got bergedil, got this, $7.
Okay.
Anybody wants or not? Then she takes orders from people. Then what she does is she just deliver. Then when she finish cooking, she just deliver to your house. So it's home cooked, really good, awesome Indonesian food. And why not support a neighbor? And because of this, actually, she's earning quite a bit from there also until she cannot take the orders. Too much already. So this is actually what our app is looking at doing. Helping these home-based businesses, neighborhood businesses actually get outreach. Because one thing that you realize is that, say for example, my neighbor, if she wants to let herself known of her services that she's doing this thing, there isn't a very effective channel for her to go to market her services or products. Doesn't make sense for her to get on Facebook or Instagram because her target crowd is selling to people within the neighborhood, which is probably say with a 2-kilometer radius.
As a hyperlocal.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense for her to get on Facebook, Instagram, then pay amount of money to get likes and follows, advertisements, and worst come first, you have people from Bukit Batok liking her, and she got to pay for the conversion for the customer acquisition cost.
Her objective is very simple.
I just want to sell it to my neighbors.
Yeah.
So you see, this is actually one target market this one segment of market that we feel has been very, very underserved. The wanton-mee uncle downstairs, the uncle selling fish, the bakery store just across the road, or even the new Mukata store just opened in a coffee shop. So their target audiences, their potential customers are people staying around the whole estate, around the area, probably within a 2-kilometer radius only. You want to travel to Bukit Batok just to buy fish at Tampines, right? But they cater to the nearby locality only.
So what is it that you do for the uncle that sells fish and wanton-mee?
Okay, so good thing is that right now is that we're actually running across a couple of promotions, campaigns that could actually help highlight this to the neighborhood. There are a couple of things that we have in the pipeline also, like for example, including building what we call a merchant module that you can actually claim your neighborhood business. That's where people can come and leave reviews for you, can make postings about you. That's where you can tell people that, hey, if I'm a bakery shop in the neighborhood, I can tell people, hey, after 8 p.m. I got 50% off. Come and buy. And they are able to spread the word effectively to the neighborhood, to the target audiences. That's something that we want to do, that we help them to become a digital marketing platform for them that really works. I think the key thing is really works. Yeah, I think that's really what we wanted to do. And like, so every now and then we also run some campaigns here and there lah. So for example, like I think a while ago we did run something like a voucher campaign, giving our users vouchers for them to use at this neighborhood stores that were during COVID. Not with NextBlock, but my previous project lah, a comedy project also. That we did something like this. We gave every user $2, $6 voucher, just spend it at a neighborhood store. So to help them to bring sales, that was during the early COVID periods also. So we're doing that. So these are some initiatives that we can do. But what's more important is that when neighbours, there are also a lot of neighbours who like, especially they like discovering a neighbourhood. They see this kway chap store very nice. They'll take a picture and tell neighbours that, hey, this kway chap store very, very nice. So as it becomes sort of like a real reviews, neighbourhood influencer kind of effect that you can bring to certain stalls. Like for example, recently, I think a month ago or a month plus, my house outside coffee shop opened a carrot cake shop. Then on my app, my neighbours every now and then also talking about their shop.
Your app lah.
My app, on my app, yeah. My neighbours around my neighbourhood.
Yep.
The few estates around it, they will just come and ask about the app, about the carrot cake shop. Is it open today or not? Hey, food really good. Then people started taking pictures. Wow, $5 very good. $6 I can eat for 2 meals. Things like this. And their business started coming in. And even though they're new, I would say that they are probably the hottest. They are probably the hottest stall in my kopitiam already right now.
Trending topic.
Yeah, it is. So things like this, like neighbours reviews, neighbours. You can think of it. They bring exposure to a certain local brands, neighbourhood brands. Actually makes an impact. So if you were to ask me, like right now, I come to visit you over here in Yishun. What should I eat for lunch? I don't know. But if I have like an app that I can tap onto it, I mean, that's something in time to come that we're looking at. Also, in Yishun, I can see, hey, what people are talking about in Yishun. And these are what we know, these are what we call the true concrete reviews from people who are staying in the area. If you were to ask me, like, Hokkien Mee down here very nice. I really have no idea. But probably you have a better idea. Which bak chor mee store is actually not bad. Which Hokkien Mee store is nice because you are a person staying here. So I would trust your review rather than, truth be told, that's my assumption also. I'll trust your review rather than a paid platform that does food reviews. Reviews from the mouth.
Fair enough.
For people who are staying there, people who have been living here for the past 10 years, I'll trust their reviews.
Comfort food for us that we will recommend lah.
Yeah. And the thing is that you see, every single person sharing food and things on the app, they're not being paid also. So you can see that these are what we call unbiased reviews of things. Of course, like if you look at those like platforms whereby paid to get a review and all, they have an incentive to write something good about their place. But what we do is community generated content. So it's a little bit different. Yeah. So these are some things that we will hope to bring to the table. We actually in NextBlock we see three main pillars of how should I say of very important factors within it. First of all, what we call is a neighbor to neighbor interaction. Neighbor to neighbor interaction will revolve around like things happening in the neighborhood. You got 50% discount. Like for example, this week was trending also when I saw today. Quite a few people started sharing, hey, NTUC, these 2 days until Sunday, they have 50% discount off their grapes and their Fuji apples. So these are things that I have neighbors sharing. They're like, oh, actually not bad, I can go in NTUC and buy. So neighbor to neighbor interaction can be sharing of deals, can be sharing of news. Or the last few days got heavy thunderstorm, the tree fall out, be careful when you walk past and things like this. Carrot cake store not open today, Thursday they're resting. Things like this, sharing of news and information around a neighborhood. That's something, the first vertical that I want to do. Second vertical that I think that it's something as important is actually neighborhood businesses, because they actually form a very important part of the entire whole estate ecosystem. Yeah. So how can we even help these people to be more successful? How can we help these people to actually reach to the target crowd? I think this has been a very underserved market. There's no place to go. If today I'm a Chai Peng store uncle, how should I tell? I'm a Chai Peng store uncle that just today set up shop in Yishun. how do I let my neighborhood know that I'm here?
Tie banner on the drain.
I'll tie banner on the drain.
On the drain railing.
If I were to do what I would do, I'll give out pamphlets, stick stickers, stick posters, and get people to. Would I have the time to do such things? Probably not. Would I have the time to get on Facebook, sign up an account, and start posting and pay for advertisements for people to like my page? Then after that, after 3 to 6 months, when I got sizable amount of followers, then I start to promote my stuff. Or B, do I have to pay $1,000 to a social influencer to talk about my place with 100,000 followers, to come here, give that person free food, and pay for that person to write about me? To a normal hawker, probably that's not the best way to use their money. So on our side, what we want to do is pitch to them very simple. Within this estate, 10 estates around my neighborhood, we have 50,000 users. On the first day, you post something, 50,000 people will see. You can just be a simple, very, very simple post. We are open for business. Chai tau kueh $3, black one $4. Then you have a special bacon one for $4.50. Post some pictures. That's when you get people. Hey, there's a new chai tau kueh store. Let's go and try.
And they'll pay you, the chai tau kueh uncle?
No, I'm not looking at that. So
Eventually,
we're looking at sponsored posts lah.
okay.
So in time to come, there's nothing free to actually get them to get a business account. But if you want things like sponsored posts, for example, sponsored posts would be like, like for example, Facebook where scroll, then after you want sponsored posts. So getting more eyeballs to it, I think that's something that part of our revenue model actually circles around that. But our self-management team, our investors are all committed to this. Doesn't make sense for us to do this right now. Yeah, it'll be something along further down the road, and we will have to make sure that this doesn't affect this entire user experience of it. Yeah, for the I would say that for the next few years, we'll be very committed to just building an app that people love and people like. That's all we want to do right now. Yeah.
Is there algorithm baked into this?
I would say that our platform is pretty new. We only launched the lab for less than a month, so we do not have that much content to actually need I need to have relevant sorting and all these things. That will take a team of data scientists to do it. Too early to do that, but in time to come, has to do it. Because ultimately, it's all about, when you talk about platforms like this, it's all about relevancy.
Yep.
You have a piece of post that goes to JJ. You see something that's relevant to you, you give a thumbs up. But if I see that, doesn't relate to me, I'll call it a spam. So how do I bring the right content to the right people? That's really required. And that will be a big and good problem to have when you have so much content that you need to do sorting.
Yeah. Now imagine you don't need to recommend the bak chor mee store to a Malay user.
Yep.
But you need to sort out the halal recommendations and push it to the Malay user.
Yeah. The recommendations and things like this. What to recommend? What are kind of profiling that you like based on the user habits on the app itself? What you look more? What videos you see more? How you scroll? Which page you actually spend more time on?
Yeah.
You will be automated profile according to this, and you have to be matched with the content that you could be interested in. This is where the data science portion comes in. If you were to ask me to comment, I would say that it's something further down the road, not now, because it's still new. Not much content to speak of. I think I'll be more concerned about a couple of problems that we have right now, which is problem statements that we have right now. How to get users quick and fast in the shortest period of time, using the least cost. How to get users on board. Number 2, how do I retain my users? I don't want my users to come on board first time they see, this content is shit.
Then they delete. Yeah.
No point. And how do I get content generation up? How do I get? Because ultimately, every single platform,
you need to incentivize people or to make it attractive for them to post.
That's one way of thinking. But the other one, how to get quality content. Not about quantity of content, but quality of content. People will come in to a social network when they see there's quality content, something relevant, something I like to see. I'll stay here. I'll observe a bit more. It's something that's value add to me. There's value add to me. But it's something first day I come and see, it's all advertisements. Delete the whole thing. It's commercial. I don't like such things. So these are I would say the 3 main problem statements that we have solutions to this, but we're also looking to optimizing it. Yeah. That's what we're doing right now.
You guys are in a few districts now, right? It's not launched across the island, I know.
No, we only started last month in District 19. So that's postal code 535455 and 82.
Which is in?
Punggol, Sengkang, Hougang, Serangoon.
Punggol, Sengkang, Hougang, Serangoon.
Yeah, that area, District 19, I call it.
Was it chosen for any particular reason?
The crowd. Younger crowd,
younger
generation. Okay. So, especially Punggol side.
Young families.
Yeah, so that's actually a good place to kickstart things over there. So we did the first initial very small little launch over there. Actually today, as of this morning 8 o'clock, we actually opened up to Yishun and Sembawang already.
Okay.
Yep. So District 27, you guys are called District 27 now.
Yeah. So that was the update lah.
Yep.
Yesterday, part of the update.
Yep. So
Okay.
today, we have that also. So you guys can actually download the app already. So yesterday, even last night, some of our guys, we actually went down to a different part of Yishun, the Yishun Natural, Yishun River Green, that area, to actually do outreach campaigns over there. We're actually putting invite postcards, invite door hangers at every single door to get people to join the app. Yeah, so we're doing that last night also.
Do you feel this is the most effective way to get users now?
Cost-wise, cost effectiveness, I would say yes. We tried different ways, going on Facebook, going on digital, paying for Facebook ads, Google ads, and all these things. In fact, that's even higher.
The cost?
Yeah. The cost of getting a user, you effectively want to look at the conversion rates lah. You put out 1,000, then how many people come back? This is so far the most cost-effective one. But the problem with this is that the manpower side. I can't scale as fast. Hey, Singapore has 1.1 million HDB households. So how long do I need to take if I have if you tell me that I got 1.1 million people on my team to actually do such things, it's easy lah.
To put the door hanger and all this kind of thing.
Yeah, but I don't have a big team like this, so it will take time to scale. So we are, of course, experimenting with other methods to how can we scale things fast without compromising on conversion rates. So there are a few things that we're testing out right now. Then, so how we work is very simple. We have a thought, okay, this thing, let's experiment with it. It works on a small scale, like 10,000 households, 20,000 conversion rate, not bad. Okay, I'm going to scale it to 1.1 million households already. I can get it. I can get, say, a postcard, a door hanger to every single household and get a pretty good conversion rate within, say, a week. So if it works lah. So this is how we talk about getting a first bunch of seed users. Then after that, you got to think about it. Hey, seed users, how can I get my seed users to tap onto their network to grow? So in short, how can I get you to ask your mom, your sister to download the app?
And my 大姨, 二姨, 三姨, who stays in Yishun also, to download them. Okay.
Yeah. So how do I get you to get them to download the app? So that's actually the more important part. I'm getting my seed users, let's say 50,000 seed users. How do I get this 50,000 people to recommend one friend each? Then that will grow to 100,000. How to get 100,000 to introduce to 5 friends each? That's half a mil already. That's actually the fun part. So you need to get your seed users and how to grow from there. So we're at this stage whereby we're getting seed users right now. So if you're curious, hey, why do we only launch in Punggol first? The reason from the team is very simple. We want to fine-tune this model. I have to be very honest, we are not there. First hit, we get it correct already. We're also trying startups. That's the fun thing about startups. You are always constantly experimenting things, trying to see what works, what doesn't work. More important, I think most of the time you find out what doesn't work. You got to fail 40 times, then on the 41st time, then this thing works. Then I just grab onto it and just run with it. Yeah, that day I was just telling my team this analogy. It's like right now what we're doing is very simple. We have a pond over here, a pond of water. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to throw things onto the water, many different things, and see what floats. That's what I'm doing. And the thing about startup is that you're always running on the clock. Today, to be very honest, company will close off when they run out of money. So every single hire, every single headcount is money. So the play is very simple. How do we do this? How do we find answers to this before our money run out? I think someone gave a very interesting quote before. This guy, Reid Hoffman, a very well-known guy in the startup world, he's running a startup. He gave this analogy. It's like you jumping off a cliff. You have all the materials you need to build a plane, but no manual. You do not know how to build it.
Okay.
Your job is to mix and match everything. Try to build a plane before it crashes.
Before you hit the ground.
Before you hit the ground, you have to build a plane and fly the plane before it hits the ground. So that's the kind of cadence we are working at. It's always about I need to fast, test. And more often than not, I think, like I mentioned, you fail 40 times before you find a good answer to it. Then after that, how do you improve on it? So right now, that's why when people say it's actually a lot more on speed. Speed matters a lot.
How big is your team now?
We have 4 co-founders.
Okay.
Over here, I have a team of 7 doing software development offshore. A lot cheaper also and more effective. Then at the same time, I have 3 interns at this moment. One, we just offered her a full-time contract. She's getting on board end of the month. Then I have a couple of more interns also joining in. Why interns also? This is actually a very interesting thing. I mean, over the past years when it comes to hiring, I have my best experience. I would dare say that the people that I hired in the company, the best performers and all, actually come from internship programs. Yeah, not just about their skills, but actually more on whether it's more of a test whether do they fit the kind of culture. Can they adapt to this kind of unstructured environment, the kind of pace, the kind of cadence that we will get? Actually, that's what matters a lot. Not everybody can take a startup pace and cadence. Yeah. So you need to have that passion to do it. You need to have that willingness to learn things. You come to the company like, I'm here. I'm so full already. I know every single thing. I'm just here to do things. I'm probably not. I would just say you haven't seen what it is. Yeah, we're not at the stage of a startup whereby we have our business model all defined and it's just about execution. To be honest, we're all trying to explore and see what works, what doesn't work.
Still a try and error.
A lot. I would say that at least for the first 1 or 2 years, 3 years, it's all about experimenting what works, what doesn't work. What's the best way to get users, for example? Like the same question you asked me, is door hangers the most effective way? You can say that right now, so far, it's the most effective way that we tried so far. Can there be better ways? Can it be more effectively?
Potentially?
Yes. So you have to try out. So
you have to try or else you don't know.
You have to try out, you do not know. And the thing is, like, for example, sometimes you might a trap that a lot of people fall into, to procrastinate too much. They think too much. So if you spend like a day or 2 debating each other whether this thing works, this doesn't work, why not spend the time really trying out and see whether it works? Don't think too much about what are of course you got to have your safety nets. Something I like to ask myself, what's the worst thing that can happen to you if this thing fails? Nothing lor. Kena scold lor. Get a warning letter from town council lor. Things like this. I'm just giving another example that we were doing a while ago. Just an experiment also. Was that I think, what's the most cost-effective way to get users on board? Print the poster and stick in the leaf lah. That's actually cheap. Print one poster, 10 cents. Stick to a leaf. You just need stickers only.
But need permission.
The thing is, like, we didn't know. So we just stick lor. So with that, you might think that, okay, that we understood the constraints. Because, first of all, you want to stick a poster in the leaf. Usually the cleaners will take it out within 3 days. They only have a 3-day shelf life. Maximum, I mean, the more good luck ones I see, 2 days, 3 days, take out already.
Yeah, I share a story with you later. You continue your story first.
So that's one thing. Yeah. Then after that, did we get a complaint letter? No, never. Okay,
no one called your number and say, who are you?
Then after that, then we also tried. There are even some districts here in Singapore that went, there for 1 month, we still haven't taken down. Yeah. Do we get a complaint? Don't have. There are some towns whereby we did that. Within 3 days, we get an email letter already. Got to take down every single thing. This is not permitted. If you do this again, we've got to fine you $3,000, things like this. Then okay lor. So we know the bottom line, if everything it's a warning. It's not a straight up fine, so it's okay, no issues. But then again, I have to think about to myself, if within these 3 days of airtime it has in the leaf, I'm getting 1,000 users, then it makes sense, right? See, print something, I get 1,000 users, then I get a warning only long. So not too bad. It's a good trade. But then again, you do realize that actually putting this is not effective. I'm only getting like 20 users just from these 3 days. Then does it make, although it's cheap, is it effective? No, it's not. So we got to let go of this model. Yeah. So this is an example of an experiment that you keep trying. So just keep trying, and every time you do something, you learn something that, this is the boundary. You shouldn't be doing things like this. You could fine tune it. How can we say that? Geng need to know how to geng.
Geng tao now.
Yeah, need to know how to geng tao now. Need to know how to geng your ways through the system or everything. Yeah, that's in short what we have to do. We are doing that's why when people ask me, what do you do in the company? Fireman, every day fire. Yep. So looking at where the biggest fires are, identifying the fires that's more important than put out the fire. I think that's what we do most of the time, firefighting, which is fun.
So recently, You know this house I'm staying myself, right? It's I have 3 rooms, so I thought, okay, I'll rent out 1 room. Then the question is, what's the best way to rent out a room? Advertise, let people know that you're putting out this room to the market, right? Then the next question is, how do you get the best renter, the best rate, right? Then I was like experiment lah, you know.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, maybe I go and look on those Telegram groups. They have those, you know, rental groups, Facebook groups, go and post and all. But turn out, you know, what was the most effective way? Until today, 2 months later, I go and stick at the lift lobby of just the surrounding pristine 10 blocks only. Until today, I still getting people sending me picture that their friends send them. They take a picture. So it's the, you know, the you cut your number. Then you just stare one. Until today, I still get. And it's no cost one. You know, my uncle was a property agent. He was like, you know, I got Property Guru account. I can post for you. But I know he's paying, right? Correct. Property Guru going on IPO, you know. I don't know. Today, yeah.
Today.
So I also feel, I know he didn't ask me for any money or anything, but I know I paise lah, you know, paying for ads and all. This one just small room only and all. Most effective way. People came. 1 room here in Yishun. Indian couple, you know, offer me how much? $1,200.
Okay.
For not even master bedroom, you know, because this is a master bedroom. The toilet is covered by this curtain.
I see.
Common room, $1,200. I learned so much just from the experience of renting out a room.
I got another solution for you. Get my app. Then post on my app.
Can.
You can. This is things that you want to do in the app also. Like maybe anything about neighbours. So same thing. It's the experience that you went through is on the same thing. You post something that you're looking to rent a room. Post some even better. That thing you stick. Don't have pictures. You can upload pictures. Like latest update, you can upload a video also. You're looking for how much? Same thing. Your neighbours on app can see that. Can take screenshot and send to their friends who can contact you. So of course this is on the basis that we have the user base over here. We are getting the same number of eyeballs you have down here. Because you see, the same thing. There's nothing different from a person who sees the advertisement at the lift lobby and a person opening my app and
screenshot sent to the friend. Yeah.
Same thing. So, and the thing is, I save you you don't save the trouble of you walking around 10 blocks and sticking your things. Just make a post. I mean, this is kind of like the kind of use cases that I want to put across to people.
Yeah. Do you worry about the app being too much of a jack of all trades?
Jack of all trades. I'm not too worried about that problem right now because we are still in this early content phase. So, but one thing that I'm always always at the back of my head is that this app shouldn't be over commercialized. Meaning that if I'm seeing that 50% of the posts on this app is all about people selling a business. Oh, I'm doing a group buy down here. I'm doing a group buy for this and that. I'm running a business down here. If 50% of that is on a business side, I think that's my benchmark lah. I think that's something that there has to be some intervention. I had this talk with an investor yesterday also of our company. So we were discussing like, what is a good balance? Do we want to say, put a hard stop, say no business advertising at all, nothing commercial advertising at all? Because that would be very clear. Everything's social. You are just talking about neighborhoods and social and everything. But what you lack is you actually lack the content of it.
But the wanton-mee guy can organically post lah.
You see, that's also, again, debatable. That's a business engagement. What if that one-time guy posts like 10 times a day? That's spam already. So guidelines and things have to be in the picture. So after thinking and discussing with that certain investor, my conclusion when I told him, at that point in time, my answer to him is, I think it's impossible to get businesses out of the picture. In fact, they form a very critical part of an economy or rather a digital estate, the entire ecosystem of an estate. 你在这边卖东西，你不是这边的用户咩？ You are still a resident over here. 你还是这边的人啊，你还是宜春的人啊。 So you see, you shouldn't be looking at that. But what you're again, if you look at the root of the problem is spam. So how can we control spamish behavior? So a few ways to do it. Of course, you can do it from the product way, meaning that if you're a registered business, there are a certain number of things that you can post per day. For example, your community guidelines, for example, you can probably only do one commercial post every single day. Yeah, so that purpose is you don't want to create additional spam for other people. You spam people also find gun. Then why would people support you? I think that's even a lot of people do not understand that, but that's actually the truth. They always think that the more I talk about it, the more I post about this thing, about my business, the more eyeballs I have, the more advertising I have. But it doesn't work that way.
Because anyway, free ma.
Yeah. So guidelines that have to be in place. App side, from the product features, functionality perspective, it can also be controlled. But if you were to ask me right now, is it a problem right now? I would say no, because it's still in this early content stage. Do I need to come to intervene right now? No. I'm looking at the content makeup of my app right now. Still very healthy. People sharing news, people sharing pictures about our neighborhood, people sharing undiscovered places in our neighborhood, people giving like, hey, this food very good, this carrot cake very nice, this cafe coffee very good. So things are still okay. There's no issues right now. Or rather, the problem right now is the thing about right now is how can I get people to post more content? This is actually the stage one problem I have to solve. When I have too much content, then that's a problem for me. When I have too much content and too much of this content are commercial content, then that's when we have to intervene from the app perspective. But of course, that can come. That might come. That might not come. We do not know. But there's no point in us that it could be a problem of 2 years down the road. Then right now, I built something to actually control such things. Doesn't make sense. I would be more of a reactive person. When I see something gearing towards that, then I intervene. I think that's something that how we work down here. Solving the immediate problems first. To me, like I told you that analogy, we're startup, we're like in a room of fire around everywhere. But what we need to do with limited resources, our job is to find out which is the biggest fire that can potentially burn out a house, put it out first. That problem that you told me earlier, it's probably right now just a small little spark that's at one corner. I can let it burn. It's not even a threat right now. There are still more important things to solve right now. I think that's always the thing about startups and tech companies, which is you need to know how to focus and prioritize on the biggest problems right now. You try to think of problems that will only happen, that might or might not happen 6 months down the road or 12 months down the road. You're overthinking already. Focus on the biggest problem right now first. Because, like I told you, your company dies when you run out of money. Focus on the important things right now to reach your goals. Rather than to 6 months down the road, 你还有没有在你都不知道.
So how do you raise money?
I would say that pitching to investors, I myself have put in a bit of money also in this company, and of course we were very lucky that our previous network, our people that we know, willing to support. I have a range of I would say institutional investors, so VC firms, 2 of them who invested in the company, and I have also I would say a few of them are actually private investors. They are CEO of companies, some listed companies also, that like this idea. Then they're like, okay, never mind, I'll put it 50K, I'll put it 100K, support this idea. And they think that it works. So that's how things happen. So I got me also thinking, I got asked this question a couple of days ago. Darrell, how you raise your money on? You should same kind of question. So when I thought back, actually none of my investors, I went to them with the meeting, say, hi, blah, 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 I'm looking to raise money. I'm willing to do a pitch to you. None of them came from this. Actually, all of them actually came from...
Do you do that also?
There are some competitions and some structured programs you get to do that, which is good. There's exposure. But I would say so far, these investors that I've met, the conversation never started with I'm raising money, you want to invest. I went in them with a different kind of approach, which is what I was trying to do. Getting validity. So I was trying to get third-party opinion, like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing this thing right now. This is my business idea. This is what I'm doing. What do you think about it? What's good? What's bad? What are pitfalls that you see? And how would you suggest any advices or anybody can refer me to that can give me better perspective? Validating business idea. And what happened is this guy's like, not bad. Hey, you looking for money now? Why not I invest a little bit in you lah?
Okay.
It all came from such things, such conversations of whether it came from all such conversations of I'm looking for help, I'm looking for inputs, and whether would you happy to actually spend like half an hour? I'll buy coffee to talk about this thing. What do you think about this idea? Because I think one thing that I have always been trying to see, or one approach that I always try to take is that somebody told me this before. She's this lady, Dr. Lily Chan, from the ex-CEO of NUS Enterprise. She told me this very early, easily 10 years ago. This line, I think till today, I'm holding it very dearly to myself. Don't fall in love too much with your technology. I think that's a big problem that a lot of people have. Truth be told, nobody will say your baby's ugly. You won't say that your own baby's ugly one. Yeah. So if it's something that you build, you always have this biases against
People
them.
fall in love with all kinds of things that they build themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes they get too blindsided about things. So that was what I do even before I registered the company, was that I went around to so many people, asked them, I'm doing this. What do you think about it? I'm doing this. What do you think about it? If 10 out of 10 people tell me that, Darrell, you don't waste your time, no use one, then I'll think that, okay, no use. I'll drop the idea. But if like 7 out of 10 people tell you that, hey, actually not bad. Hey, this is what you can do to make it better. This is what you can do to make it better. Then that makes sense to me. In fact, all my investors told me this something very common. Darrell, don't waste your time in Singapore. Pack our bags, go to Thailand, go to Indonesia, set our office over there. It's a bigger market. This business model needs a big market size to play with. But I told them all the same thing. But right now, COVID cannot fly. So why not like this? Let me spend 6 months building the app, building traction, building a team down here in Singapore. And once we get the right playbook, we're good to move. Yeah. So that's what I told them.
So there's still plans to scale to other countries.
Yeah. In fact, it's a very aggressive plan that we have down here. We actually launched the app less than a month ago. Our plan is within 6 to 9 months, we have to hit our second market already. Yeah. Singapore to us is a market that's close to us, it's dear to us, that we know pretty well. So this 6 to 9 months is for us to figure out the playbook, including how do I get users? How do I retain my users How do I build up my content strategies? How do I get people willingly post things on my app? These are questions that we constantly ask ourselves on a daily basis. We have some answers to it. Is it the best answer right now? I would say no. Our assumption is very simple. 6 months, we'll find a pretty decent answer. I won't say it's an A plus answer, but it probably at least 80 marks that we are comfortable with. We have this know-hows. I'm ready to move overseas already. That's when also that I'm looking at getting another fundraising round because the pitch is very simple. I spent 6 months, I did this, these are my results. I'm going to use the same model, raise this amount of money, go into Indonesia, go into Thailand. That's where the market size is going to be. And because ultimately you cannot tell people, hey, I want to go to Thailand, but what are you going to do there? How are you going to business? When you have no idea, that's the worst thing you can do. Yeah, nobody will give you money for that. So our own goal is very simple. 6 months, get everything right here in Singapore. Then when that happens, get ready to scale. Yeah.
Bouncing ideas off people. So I'm just thinking, right? For someone who is watching this or listening to this, they have an idea in mind. They want to execute on an idea. They have no network, no friends, no potential investors. How do you even take the first step? That means advice to all these people. Let's say a 22-year-old NUS student now or Ngee Ann Poly diploma student now.
Sure.
How do you take the first step?
If you're in school, good news is that school actually has a lot of this kind of programs.
And a lot of clubs and all also.
Club I don't see too much use but there are some. They have really program office. Like for example, NUS has this department called NUS Enterprise that actually focus a lot more on entrepreneurship. They have a whole list of like investors and mentors and people over there. Nothing stopping you from emailing them. And can I have a meeting with you? I have this business idea. I need some of your inputs. Nobody there will say no to you. That's one way. So NTU, they have Intuitive, which is another one. SMU, they have their own. I think it's called the IIL or something, and I forgot what's the name already. Polys, they have their own entrepreneurship center too. In fact, there's actually the government over the last couple of years have been pushing for entrepreneurship, people start up. And even that, there are also even things like what we call structured programs. I think NUS has one, I got a couple of friends who went, I think called Venture Building Program. Basically, in short, you sign up for a course. So what they do is during this entire, I think 2 or 3 months, you get to attend like Zoom sessions, lectures, people telling you what's a startup, how do you build a company, how do you raise funds. And just some of the questions they asked me. They go through a series of structured programs or such things. Outside school, there are also organizations like SG Tech, ACE. ACE is that the Action for Community Entrepreneurship or something like that, which is also partially, in a way, supported by government side. Reach out to these people. Nobody will say, no, you are still fresh, we are not going to talk to you.
Are you involved in some of these programs?
I myself, you can say that I graduated from a program back at NUS called the NUS Overseas College. It's actually an entrepreneurship program whereby on your 3rd year of study in NUS, you get to go overseas and you work full-time in a startup company, and you study, like pretty much you work 4 days a week at a startup company and you spend 1 day studying at a local university over there. So I entered that program before.
That's the one you went to China.
I was in Shanghai, yeah. And actually that's where I met Brian.
You're the co-founder,
Yep.
the one, the guy you talked about just now.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's where Brian met his wife also in the same program. Yeah. So anyway, that program actually exposes you to a lot of what entrepreneurship is all about, what startup is all about, and it has actually also churned out a good number of entrepreneurs, successful ones, like the Carousel Boys. They're all from the same program. Yeah, they were in Silicon Valley, I think, if I'm not wrong. I think 2 or 3 batches after me lah. People, I would say that prominent people in the startup scene also, in the VC scene, a lot of them come from this program also. There's a fleet management software, been around for 10 years, with Versa Fleet. This guy, Shamir, very...
Fleet management software, okay.
Yeah, it's called Versa Fleet.
Okay.
So this guy, Shamir, also came from the same program. People like Yiping, Go Yiping, Quest Venture, yeah, VC side also came from this program. The earliest ones, if I'm not wrong, people like Darius right now holding, who's at 99.co. Yeah, previously he set up a company called 10Cube, which sold off to McAfee. That was actually the first success story of his program.
Do you see any similarities in terms of characteristics or character all these people have?
Definitely yes. I would say if you look at all the characteristics for, I would say, all of us budding entrepreneurs, one very key critical factor that I always see a lot more is these guys are a lot more risk-taking. Yeah, they are a lot more, current term we call you more YOLO lah.
Yeah, but about attitude towards money.
Okay, shit.
Are they all like you, whereby you don't really worry so much about the commercial side or the money side, and all? You let it take care of itself.
It's not always that there is no worry. There are worry, but you got to work within your limits lah.
Like you worry, it sounds like you worry more about the authenticity and the experience of the app. Yeah. But it's also because of the long-term viability of the app lah.
I would always say like passion that goes a long way lah. I'm just giving an example. The first company I started actually got a grant from IMDA. That was IDA. $50,000 grant. Myself and Brian, both of us, guess how much we're paying ourselves every single month?
$500.
$500, that's
$500.
Allowance. We're even worse than paid than the intern. We're paying interns $800. We're getting $500.
Worse than army boy also. Worse than recruit.
And now last time was $350. It was better.
now better than $500.
Yeah, now definitely. So if you look at this, it's like what really drove us then was like we were fresh grads. I would dare say that we could easily get a job outside $3,000, $4,000. I don't think that's too much of an issue. Even if I work at McDonald's, that's $2,000. $500. How many people would really do that? That's one big thing. Even when the company grew, that we got in quite a good round of investment, highest we ever paid ourselves then during that company, $4,500, I think so. That was the highest we paid ourselves. When we were hiring people, $7,000, $8,000 every month.
But that time you didn't have a kid.
No, didn't have. So
now you have.
Yep.
So what's the difference in consideration now?
You get to think a bit more about the family more. Yep. Of course, it's hard to take that risk-taking factor out of the entire equation. It's in the blood, really, really, truth be told. you'll still be a risk taker no matter what.
Yeah.
What kind of thing life throws at you, lah? Huh?
Because you cannot feed your 2-year-old Maggie mee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to consider a lot more things. Last time you could be like, nobody. I only have to get the go ahead for my mom to say, okay, I only can support you with this amount of money. And somehow you're younger, probably that time parents are still a little bit more, still working also. But right now you got to consider not just own family, my wife, my kid, my parents also. So there are a lot more consideration, but you need to also know, you need to get good support from them also lah. Like for example, my wife, she's taking a good stable job also lah. So which is actually helpful.
It helps.
It helps
to have one risk taker and one the stable one.
Yep.
Yep.
It is. So it helps also to some extent. Like if she's not working, then I might be a bit worried. Then like, then every month, how to bring money back?
Basic safety net kind of thing. Right?
Yeah. So at least that's something that's okay. Check off. Yeah. So I can afford to be a bit more risky in this way. I can afford to take more risk. The most come to then okay, 6 months later, this entire venture failed. Then I go find a job. It's okay. Can still get a job. It's not hard to get. I would say that it's not end of the world. Can still get a job. Even I was telling Brian, what's come to never mind. If we're willing to earn money from here, then we can't get investments and we still want to run. Go drive Grab lor. Got a car, can still drive Grab. We still got bicycles, we can go do Grab food. No issues with such things. I think we came up with this thing 不会有没有钱的人只是有不想去赚钱的人。
Yeah.
It's just how you what kind of things you want to do. It's okay. Yeah. So that's when we started talking more about. I think if you were to ask me, one quick comment is for me support, and you need to get a common consensus, because on one hand, if you don't get that go ahead or that support, you'll be scratching your head enough about the business, and you still got to scratch your head about 9分完了怎么办? Do I have money to buy clothes for my son? Do I have money to pay for infant care? Things like this.
Or to go for the extra piano class.
Yep.
Whatever,
Yeah. So things
the
like
lifestyle.
this. So things like this, you got to consider a bit more especially things that change. That's why when people ask me when's the best time to actually start an entrepreneurship journey?
When's the best time?
When you're studying.
Yeah, the day I heard this this guy, he was saying that it's when you're studying, when you're just starting out, or after you're retired.
Yep. When you're starting, basically, you're not under pressure. First thing is you're not under pressure to bring anything home. And most of the time, you're not married also, no kids.
Yeah.
If you're a girlfriend also, okay lah, a girlfriend also not much commitment also. Yeah. And in terms of money side commitment, you can still do a lot of things without thinking too much. But what happens then is that you have the luxury of time. That's the thing. You're still young, you can do 2-3 o'clock nights. I remember when we first started a company, we even sleep over in the office long time ago. But right now, I still cannot already. I still need to come and put my son to sleep. So, but the thing is that you have luxury of time. But what you lack then was experience. What you lack then was the network. Or you could be spending a lot of time thinking about things, focusing on things that doesn't really matter. So you end up 走很多冤枉路. You end up falling a lot of pitholes. And you got to learn how to climb up from there as soon as possible. So that's the difference between, say, having been in the tech scene for 10 years versus myself 10 years ago. These are quite some differences. Right now, you learn how to. The clock is ticking. You got to think about how to make sure that every single cent, every single dollar of the company is well spent.
And also literally your time also,
yeah,
right?
It is. So sometimes
kids are growing up. Yeah. You miss the growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of stories also. Some friends of mine also mentioned they are successful people, but they ask you something you regret a little bit more. I think we all hear this very often. I wish I spent more time with my kid when they're growing up. So these are things whereby I'm not exactly willing to compromise, but I feel that there's a good balance to it also 吃一点苦咯. Yeah.
I shared this story with you 2 days ago. I went to interview my grandfather.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so he said something that I find funny and also so profound also. He's a Teochew . And he said that a successful life, he said that, no matter how successful you are in business outside, how people respect you and all, he said love and respect is different. Then he said, what's a successful life? Go back home, bo kyo, kia kyo, bo chio. He said, earn so much money, you go back home after a long day, nobody even give a damn about you coming back home. What's the point of coming back home?
Yep.
You won't even want to come back home.
Yep.
So remember, one day you go back home, kia kyo, bo chio, enough already. It means you go back home, kia kyo means your kid calls you lah.
Yep.
Daddy, then your wife smiles at you lah.
Yep.
Enough.
Yep, it is. It's very true.
Maybe I just ask one last question.
Sure.
If everything goes well, what to you is success at the end of the day?
From a personal perspective or from the company perspective?
We can do both.
Personal perspective. Truth be told, I'm not that much of money driven kind of thing. I'm not going to set a target. I'm going to earn $1 million and put in my pocket. Then that's why I say.
Or you want to buy a GCB?
Not that lah. Not going down that route. But if you were to ask me what do I define as being successful, I'll give a very cliche response to this, but it's true. To know that I made a difference.
Okay.
To know that I brought value to people, to know that I brought value in what I did and brought value to a lot of people. Give an example. I have a neighbor during COVID. Also, that was in my previous company. An example of what I meant by brought value to people. A while ago, during COVID, he lost his job, got retrenched. So what he did was he became a personal trainer. He started to take up some personal training courses.
Fitness, okay.
Yes. And throughout our app, we actually gotten 4 students from the neighborhood.
Wow.
So that became something that he likes to do, and he found a way to earn money from this, to earn a living from it.
Put food on the table.
Yep.
Very practical.
To me, that's value that I brought. That's value that this app has brought to him.
Yep.
And what to me will be successful will be that people on the app I brought value to them. This could be one way. There could be other ways also. It could be people who got onto my app as a business owner, as an independent business owner, and our app helped them grow. That's something that I'm really hoping for. So a very cliche generic statement is bring value to people. When people, I would say that, back to again, bocho, kyakyo. Same thing. When on the streets, people like, thanks Darrell, because of you, this thing happened. I think that's a good form of personal achievement that you like. It feels even better than buying a GCB. Yeah, you get okay, not bad. I did something good in my life. I think that's on a personal level. And that ties back to the company also. When NextBlock, how do I define success? It's not so much about, I hit 50 million users, 60 million users, 100 million users. We got listed on the NASDAQ and things like this. Not that. But ultimately, what happens is it's about again the term value. Have we really brought value to people through the things that we've been doing down here? Have we helped change the people's life? Have we helped somebody who wanted to commit suicide prevent something from happening? Things like this. So I'm back again. I give another example. There's an incident that I felt that struck me quite badly also. Was that I'm not sure whether you read the newspapers last couple of 1-2 months ago. There was a old man with dementia in Hougang went missing, and 2 days later he was found dead in a canal.
No, I don't remember.
So my dad happened to know that guy lah. I seen the uncle before lah. So dementia, went around missing 2 days, fell dead in a canal. So if I have 10,000 people in Hougang on my app, and somebody posts this, what if somebody saw that guy and actually prevented this from happening? Actually brought that dementia grandpa home? Would he have stopped all these things from happening? Probably yes. Yeah. So these are things whereby how I define as value. Things that the app can bring to people, whether it be social good, maybe helping you put food on the table, maybe even keeping your mental health in good balance, especially right now in COVID, everybody's stuck at home lah. You don't have your people with samurai sword and choppers running around and things like this. If things like this could actually help, that to me is a big win already. It's not about, we got listed, we got 50,000 users, we are earning this amount of money. But of course, that's a fundamental of business that you have to consider lah. And good thing is that we have good confidence that we can mash up that social good, that value factor along with a good business model backing it. That's something that we're looking out for.
Great.
Yep.
If not, thank you so much for today, for being very, very generous and very giving with your experience and your insights.
Sure.
And the shirt also, shirt somewhere. I will post it on online. Thank you so much, Darrell.
Sure.
I look forward to having another conversation with you down the road.
Yep.
Where next block, all your personal, you all have gone to the next milestone.
Sure, definitely. We're happy doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
DJ.
Bye.
Okay, thanks. Ooh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love the flow.
Very